right, so when I looked at that question, I thought there is a lot of evidence on the impact of nature on human behavior. And I think it's interesting to sort of separate the definitions of some of these terms like biophilia and nature per se. But of course, biophilia is our innate inheritance regarding the presence of nature and how it sort of suits our evolutionary development. And when we talk about biophilic design, that's essentially applying these particular notions to the design of our buildings. So nature is a way of expressing biophilia. It could be that not all views of nature might produce the effects that we're talking about. But for example, something that could be threatening in nature might not suit all people's, might not add to the stress reduction of all people's lives. But there are generally, nature has that as the core of biophilia. And there is some evidence that as little as 20 minutes a day can affect your stress levels. And there's been some really beautiful research starting some time back. I love the paper, the research done by Susan Rodick, where she was working with seniors in their assisted living facility, and she tested their cortisol levels before they went for a walk and tested it when they came back, and found that cortisol, which is a measure of stress, some positive impacts of just being outside for a very short period of time. But what I thought, rather than saying what is the latest and greatest finding with regard to biophilia, I went online. It's easy to do that when you're with a university, and tried to see what was being published in the last year, between 2020 and 2021. And the range of subjects, I think, is expanding. These are some examples of what appeared at that time. The relationship of biophilic urbanism to climate change, nature-induced compassion, the effectiveness of virtual environments, virtual biophilic environments on outcomes, its relationship to sustainability, a couple of applications in health, one in pediatric cancer, one in rehab facilities. A lot of it's now being applied to work settings, right? I think we emphasized it a lot in the beginning, talking about healthcare settings, and now it's sort of expanded to all the aspects of our lives. So there have been some really interesting studies done on office workplace. My own research is on how presence of well-designed urban parks reduces violent crime. And we actually don't know what is causing that. We have some ideas, like what are the variables that are actually making that happen? And so if we notice, and we studied this as well as others in quite a bit of detail, and it's pretty clear that there is a reduction. In fact, there's actually a return on investment by adding these parks, because you compare the cost of the park to the fiscal impact on reducing violence, apart from the human cost. You find out that you can save a considerable amount of money just by doing this beautiful intervention. But what is actually causing this? Is it specifically what we refer to as a sort of a biophilic response, or people are less stressed, so maybe they are less likely to be aggressive in some way? Or is it because nature provides, and environmental psychologists use the term, affords the opportunity to meet together in a space and build community? Is it a community's acknowledgement that there are people in power who are considering their health and well-being? Is it the presence of trees on filtering air quality? Could it be that they are reducing heat island effect? So, heat can make anybody a little grumpy at sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't really know. So that's actually what I'm personally looking at now. What exactly is creating this reduction in crime? And what we specifically looked at is how this reflects on a particular type of violent crime, and that's gun violence, and gun violence being a big issue in our world today. So can designers actually play a role in this incredibly complicated social situation? So that's my particular corner of the woods. But I know many people have been exploring this for a long time. One of my mentors was Steve Kaplan, who talked a lot about restorative environments. And he was doing his work around the time when Wilson and Kellert were producing their work on biophilia. So it's been decades that we've been discussing this. I do think now that people have, the average person on the street has become more and more aware of the impact of nature on their lives and or the physical environment more generally. Mm-hmm. And nothing, of all the things that happened during COVID, one of the outcomes was that people sought the restored environment of being in nature as a means of coping with their own struggles and mental health issues. So I think it's an idea this time has come. In fact, at Cornell, we have something, we participate in this Parks RX program where a student may go in to speak with a caregiver at our health center, and they may get a prescription to spend more time outdoors. So that's actually a program, not started here, but that we picked up on and have been finding people generally understand, what we're promoting.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of different information on. Is that the latest information out there? I would say, if we are going to get more specific, it's going to be applying this notion of biophilia to all types of environments. That's going to become, education, maybe correctional, certainly psychiatric, could be commercial. It could be any number of applications. So that will probably expand. And our field, the field of environmental, design research has started, it's not that old. It's it's still baby science, but we've grabbed the various techniques and methods from other fields like psychology and anthropology, et cetera. And we are bringing them together to be better scientists. So I see the science getting better and the application getting better.